It's been 2 weeks since I started a simple flush of the power steering. I ended up breaking a tab, a hose barb on the reservoir, so I had to find another one. And for a 94 YJ, that wasn't going to happen. So I got some from an XJ, and that went on. It was a pretty simple retrofit, went together, but the reservoir was inferior, had some bad castings in it. It was sucking air, getting foaming up my power steering fluid was horrible. I ended up with the new change today is we're going with a power steering reservoir from JK. So this is anywhere from 2007 to 2018 JK. So we're going to modify this reservoir to go into here, and as you can see, it's not the same, but that's okay. We'll make this work, and hopefully we'll have a Jeep running by the end of the day. Good morning. I've gloved up, getting ready to work with the power steering. Just help keep some of the fluid off. I'm going to start by removing the air cleaner box.
Taking off the air cleaner box, giving much better access to the power steering pump and reservoir. Set that up there.
Okay, with the air box out of the way, we can start to see what we've got. So you can see there's definitely some leaking. What was happening was in the casting down here, it's just sucking air. So what happens is I get air into the pump, makes a mess. So we're going to pull off the return line, and we're going to drain the reservoir into a capture bucket. So to keep this from being a mess when I drain it, I've got a pair of these needle nose, and I just adjust them so they're open a little bit. That way when I pinch the hose, it closes off the hose, but it doesn't damage the hose. Alright, we'll go down here, we'll give this a little pinch. That's not too tight, and we're just trying to keep the fluid from leaking when I unplug that, and I don't make a mess. And I can get down in here, and I can take off the hose clamp. I'll slide that hose down, clamp out of the way. Okay. I take my big old screwdriver here and just lift up on that, and you can start to see the slide the hose up a little bit. There it goes. All right, now I'll get my bucket. There we go. So we pulled the hose off and we put it in a bucket, and the reservoir is going down. So we're just going to drain this out, get as much fluid out of there as we can before we go to the next phase. Okay, we're down at the bottom of the reservoir now, so we've got that all drained out. Got a bucket there. So now we're going to pull off this hose. We'll drain that little bit is in there, then I can take the reservoir right off. You know, I always think there's a lot of room in a Jeep until you start doing a project like this. And then it's like, where'd all that room go? Alright. Decided to dump it all over my hand too. It always makes it work better. Okay, that's about what we're going to get out of that. Okay. Beautiful, huh? So this one, I just got to loosen up this. There's a nut underneath here, under here.
Just loosen up that nut. That's it. Okay. Out comes the reservoir.
And this is where my problem is right here. This casting is just, the seam that comes down the casting goes all the way through, and I just can't seem to get it closed off. And the other side of that seam's over here. I'm thinking that's where my trouble is. Alrighty, so now we've got the new reservoir. And I've got, this is the modified bracket that I had here. So this reservoir needs to sit in here somewhere. Get my hoses in the right direction. So it's going to go something like that. So I've got to make an L bracket to hold that. So I've made working on a couple of brackets here to go behind the radiator frame. And now this is going to be a little L bracket that's going to go to the bottle. Now we're just going to nip this off right here. Okay, now let's see if we can make this into something. So that's what we got, and that's going to go. And so we're going to hook that onto this bracket here, and the bottle sits in it. All right. Woo! Let's see what happens. In the day of portable plasma welders, we're working with rivets. So that's what I got.
I like to put the clamp on here to get as much clanking force on that rivet as possible.
There you go. So now this is our bracket. Don't have the welder. So if I was to use bolts, these would stick out too far and they would hit the case. So this is what we've got. So this is our little bracket. That's going to hold the reservoir in there. Sweet. The other thing I could do is I could add a hose clamp bracket at the bottom. But before I do that, let's test this, see how it fits. Bracket goes right in here. A couple of bolts on the shroud. The bottle sneaks in here, drops right in there like that. Alignment bolt that's going to go in there. And so that's going to work good. We're going to have this lower hose is going to be able to come out around there. There's plenty of room around that. The suction will come down around. It goes right over to here. So that's only a 8 inches here, but it's got to go down and out. So we've got to take care of that. Also, this is a 3/4 inch, and this is a 5/8. So I've got to put a reducer in there. I think I'm going to take this bracket off. We'll put a little paint on it, and then we'll see about bolting this up and go to the next phase. There you go. That's amazing what a coat of paint will do to this part there. So that's the adapter. And now we're gonna this is gonna slide right in behind the So something like that. That's good. So we'll tighten up, put some bolt in top and bottom, and then tighten up the one in here on the shroud, and that's going to be mounted. And now it's just a matter of hooking up some hoses and bleeding. See what happens. All right, the bottle is in there just the way it belongs now. All right, so now we've got, this is the 3/4 hose. And that, I'm gonna have to use 2 hands to put that on, and then we've got the 5/8 here. And then we're gonna put this redirector at the bottom, so the hoses are going down and back up. So wherever we can do that. We need a little bit of flexibility, but I don't want to take up a lot of room. I wish this was different, but that's what I got. Alrighty, we are getting real close. So we've got, always the reservoir's in. This is the return line. We've got, this is this vacuum, if you will, return going back to the pump, coming out of the reservoir, goes down. There's 2 90-degree hose barbs down there. This side is a 3/4, this side is a 5/8, and there's a coupling in there. So this is nylon and PVC for now. This is a proof test. So if this works well, I'll make sure that I get something that's going to hold up to the fluids. So we're double clamped on this one. This one was that factory hose barb is just smooth, so it's a little, I don't like it so much. This one was good, so that's clamped in good. We've got fluid in it. I don't know if you can see the levels right here. I haven't started it, so I'm going to jack up the front end and just turn the wheel a couple of times, see if I can get a little bit of air to come out. We'll watch that level. And look in there. It looks bubbly to me. I don't like bubbles. So when I bled this, before I started, hook up this hose, loosen up this one until the fluid filled up that suction hose all the way there. So theoretically there would have been a couple inches of air in it here. The return line should naturally, as we move it, it should push fluid back up it, so it shouldn't be taking anything back that way. I was expecting that level to go down, and I guess we can see that it is down lower now. So it's gone down some, so maybe we are getting some air out of there. We'll start it, turn it left and right, see what happens. We're outside. Yep, get shut out of the way. You know, it kind of looks like it's supposed to be underneath the hood of a Jeep. I just cleaned it all off. Here we are after driving, I think about 8 miles, a couple of different stops. And everything's great. It's bled out fine. We don't have any more bubbles in it. So we have a victory in the power steering reservoir replacement. Yeah, just the way it is. I put a little bit of fluid in it at one stop as it continues to bleed out, but we're good. See you in the trails.